just got into fighting games like this year.
Sweet.
So
Well, welcome to the club.
Yeah, thank you. I've always wanted to get into it, but I never did get into it as a child, and because of that, like I don't know, I don't have a lot of the fundamentals down.
Sure.
But I did before Rising, before I knew this game even existed. I'd played. I was trying to get into Street Fighter 4 a lot, and I played a decent amount of Skullgirls.
Okay,
I didn't
cool.
get super good, but I feel like I got like execution down, and I worked on a lot of that, and I do know a lot more, a lot of the fundamentals when it comes to frames and whatnot, and punishing, and things that are safe and unsafe. So I'm not the newest.
Okay. So who have you been playing either in Street Fighter, Skullgirls, or Rising Thunder? Like, give me an idea of kind of what your background is as far as characters. Also, I sent the lobby code into the Skype chat, so you can just join whenever.
Yeah. A lot of Shotos.
Okay.
Just really simple. But that's mainly because I was the most familiar with Shoto inputs.
Sure.
But obviously that's not an issue in this game.
Yeah. Inputs obviously not a big deal, but the core Shoto toolset is usable for pretty much anybody. So
yeah. I'm probably playing the least Shoto character, or at least one of them.
Sure.
Or at least I'm interested in learning.
So who have you been playing in Rising Thunder? Because you mentioned to me you want to work on Crow, but I want to figure out like who else you're kind of comfortable with at the moment.
I'm kind of interested in Crow and Edge, and a little bit with Dauntless. Mainly those.
Okay, cool. So then I'd say since you only got 40 minutes, I'd say what we should do is go ahead and pick Crow, and I'll just pick a few different characters. We can do Crow Mirror. I'll dust off my Talos and a few other characters, and then I can sit and kind of look at the replay stuff later, because we probably don't have a whole lot of time to dissect like stuff like what you could do better, what you're doing well. In only 40 minutes. So let's just play a set, and then we can meet up like some other time this week or whatever and kind of go over it. Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, cool. So I will go ahead. I'll start with Crow.
See, one of my issues, even though I'm interested in playing Crow, I've kind of I don't know. It's like I'm kind of stubborn with my ability choices. Like I'm using like the most basic Crow loadout. Because I don't know, I've kind of been afraid of trying to learn the other things. So
sure. So which loadout are you using right now?
Like literally the first variation of everything and Kinetic Deflect. Like I'm kind of a slightly more defensive player.
Okay.
But that's mainly because I'm just not very comfortable with the kinetic advanced combo.
Yeah, I actually prefer Kinetic Deflect on Crow. So I usually run Kinetic Deflect. Obviously special one, and then I like Dire Sting and Riposte.
Yeah, you can cancel normals into Dire Sting, right?
Yeah, you can cancel his lows, his light specifically. That's what makes it useful.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. I'm super bad at grabs as well.
Yeah.
I just recently started playing on keyboard, and I have the most awkward grab button.
So I like to put grab on E.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's hard for my right hand to process like 8 buttons.
Yeah.
So
like right now mine's on 0, and that's just the most odd thing because of the contour of my keyboard.
Sure.
Also, I don't. I'm not very good with disc usage.
Okay.
I seem to be like really lax on it. Like I'm not. I don't even really do like the knockdown disc setups that much.
Okay. Yeah. That's super critical for a Crow, obviously, but especially in Crow mirrors, like you win or lose this matchup based off of your ability to keep disc momentum. Nice.
Yeah, because I don't have that much experience, so I'm not very good at judging like the gaps of time that are like the tells of when someone's gonna grab.
Yeah, and so like grabs in this game are really interesting because they're since you have to devote a lot more energy to teching them than you do in like a Street Fighter, right? Because you can't crouch tech and you have to press a specific button. Teching grabs is actually pretty risky. And hard to do. So like a lot of times if you get grabbed, it's actually not the worst thing in the world, right? Like right there, that's the lowest amount of damage that you could escape that from unless you blocked everything.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be too worried. Like if you're getting hit by grabs a lot, it actually means you're probably blocking okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not ideal, but it's not the worst thing in the world.
Kind of overuse air slicer as well. It used to be so much better.
Yeah. It's still really good, but you gotta get comfortable with other tools.
Yeah, and so like when I get wedged in the corner like that, like what should be my primary goal? Should it be getting out of the corner or grabbing? Like what do you think the best way to get out of the corner is in a situation like that?
So again, it comes down. A lot of it comes down to crow mirrors being especially tricky. So we'll see how you do against in a few different matchups. But like, yeah, your number one priority is almost always to get out. Okay. Nice.
I was really frustrated with fighting capable crows because I hated like the idea that even if I was super knowledgeable with what to do, it was still kind of a guessing game.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah, crow
Are
is.
there safer bets, or does it just come up to knowing your opponent?
Well,
so like what you should default to.
So like the safest bet is always blocking, right?
Yeah.
And once you get used to playing crow, what you'll find is that his mix-ups actually aren't that tricky, right? Like the trickiest stuff that he has to hit you with is usually like there's some like fuzzy guard setups that not many people are using.
I actually, I'm familiar with that. I've been doing that, like jump in heavy and then jump straight into medium kick and then air slicer.
Yeah. So that stuff is pretty tricky, and then you have left-right cross-ups based off of the meaty charge disc, right? And those get nastier when they're packing kinetic advance. But like that's really the main thing that is hard to block. Everything else, like, once you get used to playing as crow, it'll be way easier for you to block his stuff because you'll know, oh, this is the part where I do this.
Yeah.
So overall, like, blocking is just something you'll get better at, and crow will actually force you to get better at blocking against everybody because he doesn't really have any tools for getting out, right?
Yeah.
He has right post and he has backdash, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So
when I first started playing crow, I was like, I had transitioned from edge,
Mhm.
and like the missing dragon punch just like it ruined me. Like I was so reliant on that, and it was kind of sad. I just could not block properly. It did make me start trying to learn how to block.
Yeah, that's good. And the other thing it'll teach you is against a lot of characters, nothing big happens until you bait out that reversal, right? Like, so you have a lot of tools that will put pressure on people. Like crow can actually advance remarkably safely, but his problems are that it's hard for him to do damage unless he can first bait out that thing, right? So he basically has extra pressure tools in the disc to get in your opponent's head and force them, or convince them, not force them, but convince them to DP when it ends up being a bad idea, right? Like you can cover your ass really well with him. Actually,
one thing I haven't really done, because I don't really do knockdown and then like the throw guard setups. Like I rarely do that. But what happens if I knock someone down and I charge a disc and I'm trying to bait out a dragon punch? Like will they actually like uppercut? Like what happens if you uppercut into a disc? Do they lose to that?
It depends. It depends on the DP. It depends on the timing, right?
Okay.
They can blow through it, right? Like because the disc falls at a fast enough rate that like if you throw it, I think it's if you throw it a little bit too early, and they DP out, they can beat you cleanly sometimes. And it also depends on the character a little bit, right? Like Dauntless is less likely to be able to Dustbreaker through your discs because she's not invincible for that long, right? Or Vlad, same thing. Chell and Edge, like, kind of hard to fuck with those.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can work a little bit on that stuff later. So I'm picking Edge now, if you want to try that again.
Sure.
But yeah, the crow mirror itself is tricky. And a lot of
legend crows lately.
Yeah, and a lot of it comes down to like disc control and momentum because you don't have a good reversal. Like once you're in the corner, it's super hard to get out. I will say one easy thing that you can do right now is just like whenever you're going for a sweep, get ready to charge up a disc right at like cancel the sweep into a disc.
Right?
Yeah, and you can cancel into the charge because check it out. Make me block a sweep real quick. See how it hits for 3 times?
Yeah.
That actually stays even after you start charging a disc, I think. So try it. See that?
Yeah.
So you can cancel that pretty early and still have plenty of time to charge the disc. It's not flawless. Like, you know, if I see it coming, I think I can DP you out of it depending on when you release. Yeah.
Yeah.
So even then, I got hit by it in the end, right? So.
Could you have blocked that, or are you still in your like recovery?
Let's try it. So I was mashing DP there, and then I was holding down back to block, and it was fine. Or like you won that trade. So yeah, worth paying attention to. Obviously, like it's gonna be different from DP to DP, but that right there is where a lot of your pressure starts.
I see.
That's what makes Crow scary in knockdown.
Yeah, I never even considered using it on block. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't think that would be a powerful tool.
Yeah.
One question about knocking down. If I'm quick enough with the cancel and the disc, like, should I always be full charging it? Or, like, if someone's hammering, like, fast get up, like, will it ever be an issue with the enemy getting up too fast?
It depends. So I'm pretty sure sweep gives you a hard knockdown. Go ahead and sweep me.
Yeah, you can still quick release though.
Yeah, so I can quick release, but you should be able to, if you like, go ahead and knock me down. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was mashing the wrong thing there. Hold on, give me a sec. Let's try that again. Yeah. So it's not always the best idea, or at least you should be ready to release early. But in general, it's not. It's typically it's not the biggest thing you have to worry about. Right? Oh.
Okay.
Just
yeah, what we're doing right now is like, yeah, what we should be doing in training mode.
Yeah. Well, so there actually is an online training mode, but
it's
not like supported yet because it's not working properly. So yeah, eventually we'll be able to just do that. But yeah, like in general, like sweep, hit, or blocked into charge disc is it's kind of the default, and like if they start punishing you for it, then you should be adapting. But like it's pretty safe. It also the other thing is like, so what are you using for your special 2?
I'm just using the first one. So
is that core puncture? Yeah. So that one's I like to combo 2 mediums, two crouching mediums into that. It doesn't give you the best knockdown pressure, I find. Like it's okay. I actually like Dire Sting a lot, and even though it does a little bit less damage, because what it does is it makes Crow's lights dangerous.
Yeah.
Once you get that, then it means you can set up tick throws more easily, right? Otherwise it's hard to tick throw with Crow unless it's off like a jump medium or like an air slicer or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that comes to mind. I mean, as far as you asked earlier about getting out of the corner, like a lot of it, especially in the Crow mirror, comes down to like well-timed sweeps. Like sometimes if they try to do like sweep into disc, you can counter sweep them out of it. And then you can get out of the corner. You might eat a disc, but it's not the worst. The other thing you can do is like
throw into the corner.
It's not the best. Like the problem with going for throws in the corner is that their options are going to be better than yours, right? And so what happens is you can go for a throw, but it's actually super risky. Like in Street Fighter, absolutely, it's a better option. At least in Rising Thunder, not so much. I think if you see a lot of just throw opportunities coming up, I would jump straight up instead because you get a bigger punish.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
And then like the risk if you get hit, it's like you're already in the corner, you're already going to get beaten up. Like it's not the worst thing to get hit out of a jump. What that does open you up for is like walk up, crouch lights, and that kind of stuff. All right, let's go ahead and play this match.
Is it like really bad for me to be letting you doing that?
It's not ideal. So this is kind of, I don't know if you messed with this edge build at all. It's kind of weird, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And basically the reason I like it is because it lets me turtle up, right? Like now you have to come in on me. Oh. Oh, yeah.
I'm a little bit too predictable sometimes. Like it's like right now, I keep on telling myself every time I jump in on you and you block, I keep telling myself to go straight into the overhead and then down to like maybe a sweep, but I just like never pull it off.
Honestly, against Edge, I would be jumping less and throwing more discs. Especially because you know that I don't have the run, right?
Yeah, the run.
Yeah, which means
I actually like it when I just use the run because I figured out I can just block it and throw them immediately.
Yeah.
I can't do shit.
Yeah, but since I don't have the run, it means that you can be chucking discs from full screen, and that'll stop me from charging, right? At least it'll interrupt my charge.
Yeah, I'm really bad with spacing this as well. I just don't have that much experience with that.
Nice.
Is Gus punishable or did you just try?
No, I tried to jump. It's like -5 on block, so it's like the most unsafe something can be and still be safe.
Have you been, or in the last week, had you been playing a lot of
Talos? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was playing it mostly because there are a lot of salty Talos players on the forums, and so I wanted to see what they were upset about.
Yeah. I think I might have beaten you in one round. I don't remember. I played a bunch of Legend Taluses, and I was playing. I like the only time I've ever almost beaten a Legend was when they were playing Talos. I think it wasn't their main though.
Yeah.
As Crow, and I was like, wow, I can throw discs for days, and it's kind of effective. That's punishable. The second combo.
Yeah.
Heavy.
So I think actually the special one can make it safe. Let's see. Yeah.
I always jump in too much.
Yeah.
Especially in this situation.
Too much jumping, not enough disc chucking.
Yeah.
Like you want to make those discs super annoying. The other thing is like, and you were doing this a bit, but like his stand H is good too.
Yeah. Yeah, I got throw in get more of these. I'm trying to slicer and it always loses. What is like Crow's best air option if I want to beat someone else out?
Air to air?
Yeah. Do you think
Jump
it's, like,
medium.
skip pick?
Yeah.
And I can go straight into slicer if I land that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, like the way I would think about Crow is, have you played Akuma at all in Street Fighter?
Just a little bit.
Okay, so
Super familiar.
a lot of people go into playing Akuma and they think, oh man, I can play him. He's like Ryu or Ken, right? Except he's got an air fireball and zoning tools and whatever, right? And so he's better. And like the trick with Akuma is that he gets to start his pressure from much further away and from much more unorthodox angles than anyone else in the game, right? In Street Fighter, like Sagat has similar range pressure, but he doesn't get the diagonal angle off the air fireball or the X air fireball or anything, right? Crow is kind of similar. Like he gets to control a really neat like arc of space with the discs, and you can do it from pretty much full screen, like a little bit less than full screen, right?
Yeah.
And so like, when you're going in, you should be going in after chucking a couple discs, or you should make them want to go in on you because you're chucking discs, right? If you're playing him, like his mobility stuff is neat. Like he's got a fast jump, he's got the air slicer, which is really good. But if you're not backing it up with discs and you're mostly trying to like jump around and hit stuff, you're gonna lose, right? Because all it takes is one trade, and then you're at the disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
So like he's kind of like Akuma, and then if he doesn't have a teleport, right? Instead he has Riposte. At least I would be using Riposte if I were you, not Fog of War.
Yeah.
But yeah, so definitely chuck more discs. We'll try. I'll pick up Talus, and we'll see how that goes, because that's a pretty straightforward zoning matchup for you.
So they, with this recent patch, didn't they make Talus like less susceptible to getting smacked with disc? What, the movement speed increase or something?
Yeah, so they gave him 10% movement the movement speed increase. You're still gonna be chucking discs all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, it's tricky. There are ranges in which he's threatening, right? So like, and deciding whether to do medium disc versus far disc is kind of, it's part of that, right? Like, so like, yeah, that's good. If you throw the wrong disc at the wrong time, I'll shoulder charge into you or whatever, or I'll sweep you, and then I'll knock you down and get on top of you. So it's dangerous, right? But that's, you're doing good mixing up. So now I'm gonna try and get on. Nice. Ooh.
Ooh, that was almost, I almost got that.
Yeah. So like, most of that damage came because you threw one wrong disc, right?
When you're really close to me, like, what disc should I be prioritizing? Like, forward disc? Like, if you're super, like, in my grill, and you haven't, charged at me or something?
So here's the thing, right? At full screen, if you're chucking full screen discs, that means what you're saying is you want to walk forward, right? Like, you're trying to push me in the corner with that. And then if you're chucking from here, if you're throwing, like, the regular range, so no modifier, yeah, that's a little bit more defensive, right? So it's a good anti-air. Like, it'll stop me from jumping at approximately like full screen to like two-thirds or three-quarters range. It'll stop me from just going in YOLO on you, right? But it means I have space to walk forward, and so I'm gonna start doing that, which means you're gonna be walking backwards. Yeah. Then like throwing the close discs are, you think that I'm gonna jump in on you, or you think that I'm gonna stick a move out, right? Like I'm gonna approach with something, and you want to hit me out of it, right? Or you want to soak up that hit of armor on my wave. Right? So you get good at chucking the right disc at the right time, and then like the rest of your game, the part where you're running around and fishing for hits and trying to combos, gets a lot stronger.
I see.
Alright, so I'm going to try and get it on you now. Nice. Nice.
Oh. Okay, so like a possible option is that a Talus just stays away for so long that I can chip them out and like win through time. Like, do you think maybe would like even let that happen?
No. I think what's more likely is you're gonna make people frustrated, and when they get frustrated, they do stupid things, right? Okay. Like this is eroding my patience more than anything else, and especially like dudes online that you're playing, most of them are not even gonna be this patient. Like they're just gonna be walking forward.
Yeah.
Nice.
Playing Crow when the Talus just tries to go get connected another time.
Oh. No. Yeah,
it's like it's so fun just interrupting them over and over, and they just keep doing it.
Yeah, dudes overuse that kick a lot. Like I really think his stand H, just the normal stand H, is his like one of his most powerful footsies tools.
Yeah.
I almost never see anybody use it.
Is his jumping heavy as powerful as it used to be? I don't know if they adjusted that, but it used to have like a giant hitbox.
It has a pretty big hitbox. It takes a while to come out though.
Is that punishable after the second hit?
The clap now.
Yeah, no.
Right there.
Ooh.
I always use that too late. I found the fog of war to be really effective against people that aren't like necessarily very good.
Yeah.
Because I can just do the same thing over and over, and it's
Yeah.
kind of funny. It's really easy to bait dragon punches with that as well.
Oh yeah, like the best use that I found for Fog of War is to do it and then just block.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's nearly as useful as Riposte.
Yeah. What do you think's the easiest like beginner use of riposte? Like what is like very hard not like to mess up with it?
I mean, I just like Riposte on wake up and go straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it goes straight up by default, right? As long as you don't use anything, it goes.
Does it? I always just hold up. That would make sense though. Nice.
So even when I'm wedged in a corner like this, throwing disc can still be effective.
Yeah, you usually want to do it after a sweep, right? A block sweep.
Yeah. Wait, so after you block one of my sweeps, or after I block?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I had some guy doing that to me like all day today. Just jumping immediately on wake up.
Yeah. I mean, jumping on wake up is not the worst option, especially like against Talos. It's not fantastic, but like, it's not bad, right? Like you're gonna dodge some grabs, yeah.
When you jump like that and you use the I think that's just a standing heavy, or it's saying me like the weird kick. Like if I know you're doing that, or if I'm suspecting that you're gonna do that, what's my best response to that? Like just neutral disc or
backdash. So yeah, if you're in the corner, then you can't do that. But otherwise, backdash.
Okay.
Yeah, wake up, backdash, block, and riposte are basically like your three options. And then you have kinetic deflect if something goes hairy. But even against Talos, like kinetic deflect doesn't help because most of his damage is going to come off a grab that you can't connect out of.
Yeah.
Woo.
Right there. Denied.
The animation.
Yeah, so that would have been backdash. Yeah, you're not getting any mileage off your knockdowns, right? So meaty disc is super important there. The other thing is like cross Talos up. Like once you get that meaty disc, just get some cross ups going. At the very least, it'll get you out of the corner, right?
Yeah, a lot of times I'm surprised that I just managed to land like a knockdown on you. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I definitely should be doing this, I didn't even know you was in here.
Yep.
Right there. Head.
Yeah. Oh, so like you had two stocks of kinetic there. Like you could have gotten out there, right?
Yeah.
And against Talos, like there are a few high damaging combos that you can make shorter with kinetic deflect, right? Like if he hits you with a clap boot, like you can get out, and that's great, right? Saves you a lot of health. But even like normal throws or any throw that I think is landing damage, like and basically like if you're trapped in the corner, you should be using kinetic deflect for the positioning. Like saving it for health is not really a big deal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I didn't consider that. That does seem like a really good way just to get out of the corner.
Yeah.
Because it launches your mid screen.
Yeah. Like kinetic deflect basically means that every round you should have at least one like get out of corner free card, right?
Yeah.
And that shit is super important. So I'll go ahead and run Crow again real quick. Yeah, it's like Crow needs to get that momentum, right? And if they're starting to get in on you, then you're going to wilt super fast.
When I'm not running Dire Sting, when should I be using like my lights?
You can use it. You can still use it to open them up for throws, but or you can use it as just like a punish for certain moves.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, so I played Core Puncture before we released Dire Sting, and like, I almost never used the light button with him. Nice. Oof. So the tricky thing with a blocked Core Puncture is that you basically lose whatever pressure you had, right? Yeah. Also, his overhead, that like headbang move, I would pretty much only use it if you've got like a meaty disc or a super.
Yeah, well, I found I don't know if it's definitely a player skill thing, but almost any time I land that, I can go straight back into sweep, and they like I don't think anyone's ever blocked the
Sure.
after that.
Yeah.
So you're saying I should use the overhead like when I have a mini disc like coming up someone's
Yeah.
That's a non-lethal damage, right? The falling.
Yeah. For now, anyway. We may change it, but for now it's non-lethal. It's super weird either way, to be honest.
Yeah. Usually underestimate how much chaos discs can cause
Yeah.
on unforeseen consequences.
Oops. Bad.
How much like do you think the recent reduction on the stun on the jumping slicer, like that's a pretty big deal, isn't it, in terms of how fast you can stun someone?
I mean, I think it's more of a big deal if you're playing him in Kinetic Advance, because then it kind of ruins some of your stun combos. But I've been playing him with Kinetic Deflect pretty much since like launch. So I don't personally mind too much.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
Another issue I have is like I actually know like a lot of combos with Crow, but I just like I don't have like the mental capacity to do them like mid game. I guess I can practice them more like against people.
Yeah, it's like how do I describe this? Like he's got a lot of swag combos that like you can start to bust out as you get more comfortable. The problem is if you don't have a good idea for when you would potentially hit those combos, then they're not going to come to mind until it's too late, right? And honestly, like I like that combo. I pretty much only do it when people are dizzied, right?
Yeah.
If people are dizzied, or if I riposte into neutral jump medium or something, like those are the easy times that I can get it. Other than that, I'm like, I don't really think too much about landing those combos. So do you have time for one more game real quick?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, cool. Yeah, whenever I've played like really good crows in the mirror match, they're almost always chucking discs, right? Like everything goes into disc.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah. Yep.
So a big thing with me in the disc, mainly because I'm I don't have much experience with it, but I'm like annoyed whenever I throw a disc and don't do anything. I just feel like I'm just hammering some button for the sake of doing it, but I don't realize how effective and even just mind games. Just knowing that the enemy has to push in.
Yeah, I mean, it's Crow's like most defining tool, right? Like
Yeah.
in the neutral, in combos, in setups, whatever. So chuck it out a whole bunch, and then you'll get a good idea of when you can get away with it and when you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest trouble I've had with Crow is against like really good mirror matchup Crows and Dauntless.
Yeah.
She's kind of seems ridiculous.
Yeah, Dauntless is tricky. Like, obviously, she's in a really good place right now, just as far as the overall strength of the character. But it's a tricky matchup for Crow because, kind of like Talos, if Dauntless starts pressuring you, like, she's super hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Like she blows up right past.
Yeah.
She's got great tools in the neutral game. She can like just burn through your disc straight up with her cold drill. Like it's tricky. You get a lot of mileage out of neutral jump H in that matchup though. And in general, like doing more of this is not a terrible idea in any matchup because it beats so much stuff.
1 sec. Is this like a known issue? See, every time I jump right now, I'm thrown out of heavy. Does that ever happen to you? Don't know how to. Oh, okay. Yeah, just randomly stops when I start mashing.
Yeah. So,
that issue as well.
did you alt tab out by any chance?
I don't think so. I'm playing in a window right now. So.
Okay. So if you hold down H, like it won't like press H right on the ground. It doesn't do anything. When you jump, it'll give you a new H. So it might be.
Is that negative? Oh wait,
It's a weird effect. It's a weird similar negative edge. So that can also happen if you've got it open in a window or whatever. If you lose focus, if Windows loses focus on Rising Thunder and you're pressing a button, it won't necessarily communicate that button has been released. Basically.
I see. All right, that makes sense. Yeah, I like how it keep the efficiency up when that like happen.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw like someone like this.
Yeah. Crow like
Anticipate the connect deflect there.
yeah.
So there's like a slight pause.
Because you did it last time. Yeah.
Could I could have blocked after that.
Yeah.
Right?
You could have.
When you throw a far disc like that close, you're like anticipating I'm gonna jump like neutral or backward.
Yeah, or it could be because I want to persuade you to get into range of my stand H, right? Like, because that encourages you to walk forward, right? Yeah. Nice. Woo! Nice.
Yeah, that's actually I think my favorite use of the forward disc is when they're like so close to you that it hits you like on the way out.
Yeah. It's
Can I destroy Dauntless's
you can.
with them?
It's the timing is tricky. But yeah, you can blow it up. I usually prefer to just trade with whatever she's got and let the disc hit her on the way down. Because it's a little bit easier to do.
And would that just be like a back disc?
Yeah, I think back or medium or like neutral disc work fine for that. Oop. Ah, too far.
No. I worked something out. So when it comes to you as a player, like when you're hammering someone in the corner, you won't like you'll rarely go for just like a naked throw, right? You'll usually tick into it.
Yeah.
And what do you think the best way to tick into it is? Like I think you mentioned
with Crow, it's going to be crouch light, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you have a credible threat in Dire Sting, or just off a jump-in, right? Off like jumping, like depending on when you time it, jumping H, jumping M, air slicer, whatever, like those are usually my best opportunities to throw. You can do it off a meaty disc as well, but I usually like to threaten with the crouch light before. So like meaty disc, one blocked crouch light, and then grab, because they have to stand to tech your throw.
I see.
Right. So if they're crouching, it's like, yeah, so they should be crouching after they block the crouch light, at which case they need to stand to tech the throw, and it's super tricky. They'll probably just eat the throw. So yeah, overall, I'd say like you'll start to feel a lot more of Crow's power once you start chucking more discs, right?
Yeah.
Like do that. Plan on like instead of jumping around a lot to get in, like that'll blow up plenty of people in like lower tiers. But like for where you're at right now, you want to be using discs to either stall like their advance, right? Like if it's a Dauntless or a Talus or you know, maybe an Edge always trying to get on you, right? Especially if you have a health lead, they have to blow you up, right? So they have to start walking towards you. That's when you want to. That's when you want to be using that the disc to stall them, eat up their armor, whatever, make them do stupid shit, and then hit them with a combo after the disc, right? Or even just like stand H them after the disc, right?
Yeah.
And then if you're trying to get in on them, you're using discs to slowly cover the field of play, right? So like throw immediate, like they don't have to block the disc for it to be useful, right? If you throw a neutral disc and then just walk forward a little bit, that walk was completely safe, right?
Yeah.
And then you can throw another disc, or maybe you're in range where like you're slightly out of your sweep range, or or maybe you're at like the tip of your stand H range, right? Throw a neutral disc and then walk forward and make them block a sweep, and then when they block the sweep, charge up another disc, throw it again, and keep on doing that. Right, and then when they start throwing out pokes, that's when your air slicer and that kind of stuff are handy, right? Because then you can start to close the gap for real. So try out some of that stuff, and then like I don't know, you know, if you have time to play like sometime next week or something, maybe, I don't know what your holiday schedule is or whatever, but like check in with me in a little bit, and then like we'll see kind of how that works. All right.
Okay.
Cool, man. I hope this was useful to you. It was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, it was definitely useful. Yeah, I needed to play with like one of the legend, you know, crows that had been crushing me, you know, like that type of player. I needed them to like walk through like their mindset, and yeah, I did expect that I just was not using enough discs.
Yeah.
And I just felt like less of an edge player or a crow player that
Sure.
is.
Yeah, so like at a certain point you'll start seeing when people blow you up for throwing too many discs. That for you would be a good problem to have. Like right now you're not throwing enough, and because of that, it means that he's just not threatening in the neutral the way it should be. Like ideally, you knock someone down once and they're thinking, "Oh man, like now I have to block forever before I get my chance to do something." That tempts them into throwing out like an invincible reversal, and then you punish that, you knock them down again, and like they probably lost the round, right? Like that's kind of where you want to be. So try and get there, and like. Yeah, we'll see where you're at in like a couple days or a week or whatever. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, I'll contact you.
Sweet. Take it easy, man.
Thanks, Kevin.
Peace.
That's fun. Bye.